Combine and Qualify competition. Visit safm.co.za, complete the entry form, and we could be calling you live on air. You'll be presented with various scenarios of insurable items. If you combine the correct two that meet the qualifying criteria for a private advisor, you'll win 5,000 Rand. Plus, if you get an obligation-free insurance quote from Auto & General, you'll get an extra 1,000 Rand. Visit safm.co.za and enter now. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Father's Day is just around the corner, and it's the perfect time to show Dad how much you care with the widest range of gifts from Dis-Chem Pharmacies. Treat him with state-of-the-art gadgets like wireless audio devices so he can jam to his favorite songs, and specialized electrical grooming products to maintain a clean look. Spoil him for choice with a Dis-Chem gift card. Father's Day specials now on until 16 June, only at Dis-Chem Pharmacies. Better health starts here.
Channel your inner traveler on Top Travel this Saturday night at 8:30 on S3 as we scuba dive the kelp forests off the Cape Peninsula and kayak with the local penguins. Book into the beachfront suites of any couple's dream, take flight from Signal Hill, land just in time for lunch at Chef's Warehouse, and enjoy the classic Cape Town experience. That's Top Travel this Saturday night at 8:30. Repeat Sunday at 1 p.m. on S3.
Municipal services play a vital role in keeping our city safe, clean, and functional. By paying for municipal services like your water bill, you're investing in the future of the City of Johannesburg's water supply. Paying for your services is not just a transaction, but a commitment to the sustainability of your community. Let's continue to pave the way for a brighter tomorrow, one payment at a time. Brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
Copperbelt ladies are planning to lighten up the mood in Limpopo with a collection of maximum points. But Richmond United ladies are looking for victory to make the citizens of Northern Cape happy. This is the Hollywood Bet Super League. Catch them Zanti Queens of the beautiful game. Copperbelt Ladies FC versus Richmond United Ladies FC on Sunday 16 June at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and SABC 1. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Cathy Mohlahlana on SAFM.
You're listening to the Talking Point. So this hour we're going to be doing things slightly different to what we always do to accommodate the sitting of the 7th administration of government. So we are going to then take you to the news, and it'll lead us into 10 o'clock, and hopefully by which then the National Assembly will be getting started with its first session under this new administration.
In our top stories, Nat Jones warns against disruptions during National Assembly sitting and AKA murder extradition case back in court. Good morning. The National Joint Operational and Intelligence Structure, NatJoin, says they will not tolerate any kind of disruption for the first parliamentary sitting set for today. Proceedings will include the swearing-in of members of Parliament and the election of the Speaker, Deputy Speaker and President. The National SAPS spokesperson Athlenda Mate elaborates on the preparations for today.
We've put the necessary measures in place to ensure the safety and security of the first sitting today, as well as all other sittings that are taking place simultaneously across the country. So we are quite confident that we've got adequate and sufficient members on the ground to ensure the safety and security of proceedings this morning.
Secretary to Parliament Xolile George says necessary voting infrastructure is in place to ensure a smooth election process during the sitting of the National Assembly. George told journalists everything is in order to swear in members of the 7th Democratic Parliament starting at this hour. During the sitting, the Deputy Speaker, Speaker and President will be elected. In case where more than one candidate is nominated for their respective positions, contestation will take place by means of a vote. George says everything has been put in place to accommodate the secret ballot.
And should there be more than one candidate, the voting procedure indicates that a member who will be declared elected is a member that shall secure the majority of votes cast. Should there be no member that secures the majority of votes cast, the elimination procedure kicks in. Members that receive the lowest votes get eliminated until a member receives the majority of votes cast.
Former DA leader Tony Leon, who's a member of the party's coalition negotiation team, says they held intense negotiations with the ANC in the last 2 weeks to try to find each other in creating a government of national unity. Leon explains some of the aspects they focused on during the negotiations.
We never, as far as I can recall, at a single one of those meetings said, we want this position, we're not going to put up with that position. That was never our approach. We said, well, if theoretically we were to enter the government, how would we approach issues such as the personnel selection and so on, and how do you do it in a way that you're not just trading places or people, but you're actually saying, we've got to do this on a sustainable and on a reasonably both principled and pragmatic basis. So that's really what we were looking at in getting to some kind of agreement.
The Freedom Front Plus has confirmed one of its conditions for a coalition agreement in the Northern Cape is to have constitutional recognition of the Afrikaner town Orania. This as the ANC failed to secure outright majority in the province in the last month's elections. The party announced Zamani Saul as the premier candidate in the Northern Cape. The FF Plus chief whip in Parliament, Corne Mulder.
In the Northern Cape, we have come to a specific agreement with the ANC that will allow and bring stability in the Northern Cape between the Freedom Front Plus and the ANC. So that is part of a specific agreement, and the reason for that is the Freedom Front Plus is not only a party representing its constituency. There's a broad-based community out there called the Afrikaner community that plays a very important role in South Africa, and we would like to bring that into the middle in terms of finding solutions in South Africa. So the whole idea at the moment is to find a new common ground in terms of a moderate centre that needs to be strengthened.
And finally, the extradition case for the two Ndemande brothers accused of killing South Africa's rapper Keenan aka Forbes and his friend Tebelo Tibbs Mutwane is expected to resume before the Manzini Magistrates Court in Eswatini today. The siblings Siyabonga and Malusi Ndemande are wanted in the country for their alleged involvement in the murders in Durban last year February. They are further accused of killing two other men also in KwaZulu-Natal last year. In April, the defence indicated it will oppose the extradition application by the South African government. The siblings are facing 4 counts of murder, attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. Recapping the top story, the National Joint Operational and Intelligence Structure says they will not tolerate any kind of disruption for the first parliamentary sitting set for today. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
You're listening to The Talking Point. It's just after 10 o'clock. We're seeing now live visuals out of Parliament's TV of the National Assembly getting ready to be constituted. Many MPs have already gathered inside. Let me take you inside that plenary hall. They're all up on their feet. It looks like some announcements have been made, and we are certainly geared to start in earnest. Yes, they're in fact welcoming then the the presiding officers for this session, which of course now will be chaired by the Chief Justice of the country, Raymond Zondo. So he will then kick off by explaining what the order of the day is likely to be with all of these MPs. What a critical moment for our country, but also what a great moment for us to all be able to witness post an election where the ANC has lost its majority, and yet we still have the rule of law, we still have the functioning of our institutions. I'm going to take you live to the Chief Justice, Raymond Zondo. He is standing in position.
There will now be an opportunity for silent prayer or meditation. Be seated. This meeting has been convened by me as Chief Justice of the Republic of South Africa in terms of Section 51, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Republic. The purpose of this meeting is to preside over the election of the Speaker, and the Speaker will preside over the election of the Deputy Speaker, and ultimately for the Chief Justice to preside over the election of the President. I would like to remind you that this meeting is deemed to be in the precinct of Parliament as defined in Section 2 of the Powers, Privileges, and Immunities of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act. Swearing in of the members of the National Assembly is important because in terms of Section 48 of the Constitution, members of the National Assembly must swear or affirm faithfulness to the Republic and obedience to the Constitution before they begin to perform their functions. I take this opportunity to say I consider it an honor that I chair this important meeting. An important meeting because of where we are as a country, having finished 30 years of our constitutional democracy and starting another 30 years. It is an important milestone because as South Africans, we get an opportunity to look back at the road we have traveled and see where we have made mistakes and see where we have done well and make sure that in the fourth decade of our democracy, we will not repeat the mistakes that we made in the first 30 years. I congratulate each and every one of the members who will be sworn in today and want to stress the importance of the position that members of the National Assembly occupy. They make laws for our country and in that way shape the future of our democracy. Therefore, as you take the oath or make the affirmation that you will make today, do recall the huge responsibility that the people of South Africa have placed on your shoulders and the honor that you have been given and privilege to be part of this very important body in our country. Let me also announce that in accordance with the Constitution, Item 9 of Schedule 3, I have made the rules that govern the sitting today. Those were published about a week ago, but yesterday certain amendments were made to those rules, and those amendments have also been published. We will therefore now start with the first item, namely swearing in of members of the National Assembly. Members will be called in groups of up to 10 as arranged by the political parties. Will members, when their names are called out, please step forward to the stage to take their oath or affirmation, as the case may be. Members will, after taking the oath or affirmation, return to their seats to sign duplicate certificates at their desks. Members are requested to leave their certificates at their desks when they leave the chamber. After I have countersigned the certificates, members will receive one of the certificates for their records. These certificates will be sent to the members through their party representatives. The returning officer will now call out the names, but I also want to inform the House that the returning officer as well as assistant returning officers have taken their oath or affirmation before me. Returning officer.
Castellina Pamela, Osa Matamela Cyril, Tatile Shipokoza Paulus, Dashe Gwede Samson, Upa Marupini, Lamula Ronald Ozzy, Elane Tembisile Kumelele, Tabeni Kumbucho Poppy Silence, Tolashe Nokuzola Gladys, Mahlobo Mbangiseni David,
All right, so we then have the first group of MPs that are being sworn in. Many of them are walking up to the front. The setup, if you are unable, of course, to see the visual of what it looks like in Parliament, there are 6 microphones that have been put up in front of the presiding officers, and then these groups of 10 are standing behind those microphones, and they will read those oaths together. It looks like, and we will then continue with this process until all the MPs have been sworn in. Of course, there is also a notable absence of the MPs from the MK party in the plenary today.
They can raise their hands. Those will take the oath, okay? Or is it everybody here? Okay, all right. Have you seen the oath that you are about to take? Are the mics working?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking the prescribed oath?
No.
You consider the oath binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Please read the oath aloud so that the people of South Africa can hear what you are committing yourself to.
Mna Phemi Majodina ndiyafunga okokuba ndiza kunyaniseka kwiRepublic yoMzantsi Afrika kwaye ndiza kuthobela ndiwuhlonele ndiwuxhase umgaqo-siseko kwakunye nayo yonke into eminye imithetho yeRepublic. Kananjalo ndiyathembisa ngokunyanisekileyo okokuba ndiza kuyenza imisebenzi yam njengelungu lendlu yowiso-mthetho yesizwe kangangoko ndinako.
Thank you. I'm not happy because I'm not sure that people hear. So can I have another one? Then I can lead them.
All right, so off to a bit of a shaky start, a bumpy first round in terms of the oath. As you heard there, they all just read it into the mic. Chief Justice now is looking for a copy of this oath so that they can follow his
We'll
lead.
find another way to make sure that the people know exactly what you have read. I will. When I get a copy, I will read it out so that everybody knows what you have read. I know that some of you have already raised their hands, but I'm just going to say, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God." Thank you very much. You may go back to your seats and leave your certificates on your desk when you leave, because I will sign them later. And do sign your certificates.
All right, so the first group of MPs then returning to their seats, the Secretary of Parliament now calling up the second group.
Masondo David, Ubai Mamuluku Triposa, Mahambe Hlala Thandi, Utswaledi Pakishe Aaron, Idiza Angela Togozile, Tunu Edward Senzo, Chikunga Lydia Sindisiwe, Odongwana Enoch, Tauli Noneba Bianca,
Have you all seen the oath that you are about to take or affirmation that you are about to take?
Yes. Yes.
You consider the oath or affirmation binding on your conscience?
Yes.
And let me see those who are going to do the oath. Okay, and there are two who are going to do the affirmation. Okay, all right. Please, before you read, I'm going to read for the benefit of the public because I think they can't hear when you read there what exactly you are reading. The oath that members of the National Assembly take and affirmation reads, I, and then the name of the member, swear, or if it's an affirmation, solemnly affirm that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other law of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability. And if it's an oath, they say, so help me God. And if it's an affirmation, they say, I do. So I thought it's important that the public should know exactly the contents of the oath that will be taken. I've read it only once. I won't be reading it again. It's just to make sure that those who are watching know exactly what the contents of the oath is. Please go ahead and read the oath or affirmation aloud.
And uphold all other laws and all other laws of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Those who did the oath, raise your right hands and say, so help me God. And those who did the affirmation, you say, I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. You can return to your seats, sign your certificates, and when you leave the chamber, leave the certificates on your desk.
Hazen John Henry, Wahube Siviwe, Lotrit Anneli, Labuschagne Kathleen, Van der Walt Desiree, Masango Bridget Staff, Nodada Baxolile Babongile, Paula Diane, McClure Joseph Job, George Dion,
Have you all seen the oath that you are about to take or affirmation that you are about to take? Yes. You have no objection to taking the oath and taking the affirmation? No. No? Do you consider the oath or affirmation binding on your conscience? Yes. Read the oath or affirmation aloud.
I, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all the other solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly, as a member of the National Assembly, to the best of my ability. So help me God.
When you are done, those who did the oath, raise your right hand and say, "So help me God." And I see there was no affirmation. Thank you.
Malatsi Muba Solomon, Mazoni Natasha Wendy Anita, McPherson Dean William, Marais Eric Johannes, Breitenbach Glenis, Bergman Darren, Sarupin Esho Nick, Hansinger Christian Hans Henrik, Basson Leonard Jones, Whitfield Andrew Grant.
Have you all seen the oath that you are about to take or affirmation that you are about to take? Yes. Do you have any objection to taking the oath or affirmation? No. Consider the oath or affirmation binding on your conscience? I do. Yes. Please read the oath or affirmation aloud.
I, William Solomon Malatsi, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and the Republic, and I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God." Those who did the affirmation, raise your right hand and say, "I do."
So help me God.
Thank you.
Maumapilo Supra Omakeng Ramoletsi, Techa Matsie Angelina, Igaba Knowledge Malusi Kanyezi, Ize Swelini Lawrence, Maswanganyi Kakani Joseph, Hilo Shela Poli, Tuli Mtumiseni, Maimela Homoto Joy, Masemula Namade Dixon, Pule Tina Deliwe.
Have you all seen the oath or affirmation that you are about to take? Do you have any objection to taking it? Consider it binding on your conscience? Read the oath or affirmation as the case may be aloud.
Swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Those who took the oath, raise your right hands and say, "So help me God." And those who took the affirmation, say, "I do." I do. Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Abada Zelna Saira, Damini Senzo Selby, Gasa Msawenkosi, Sabuhlangene, Gasa Nompumelelo Matilda, Babaza Nhlahla Bernard, Kanyile Nongwalisa Princess, Kuzwayo Tamsanga Fortune, Madlala Emerald, Kwenzokuhle, Mafangane Mohaeji Carol, Malinga Dafta Sihle. Malema Julius Silo, Mente Kuna Veronica Zovuyo, Shivambu Niko Floyd, Maotwe Ompile Mankoba Confidence, Damini Marshall Mzingisi, Mairola Popi Rasibe, Kalipi Hlengiwe Octavia, Mateis Lien, Dozi Mbuiseni Quintin, Noluchungu Nondando, Tabisa Velenkosi Fiki, Utelezi Elfas Mfakazeli, Singh Narend, Ngobo Siposetu Lindinkosi, Tengwa Mkhuleko, Kebekhulu Russell Sikayezwe, Mwango Mangaka Albert, Zondo Sanele Sethembeni, Majozi Zandile, Utelezi Tutuko Yezwe Zuzifa, or Zuzifa, sorry.
Have you all seen the oath of affirmation that you are about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking the oath of affirmation as the case may be?
No.
Consider the oath of affirmation binding on your conscience.
Yes.
Please read the oath of affirmation as the case may be aloud.
I, Tutuko Yezwe Zuzifa Buthelezi, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other law of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God." And those who took the affirmation say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seat. Do remember to sign the certificates when you get to your seats.
Mackenzie Gayton, Souls Ashley, Rocky Felicity Suzanne, Elskat Cleo, Kojane Stacy Lee Gabby, Freeman Evangeline, DeBrain Katrina, Jonas Gavin Franklin, Peterson Jasmine Shannon,
Have you all seen the oath or affirmation, as the case may be, that you are about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking the oath or affirmation, as the case may be?
No.
I don't hear whether you're saying yes, we have an
We have
objection.
no objection.
No objection.
Okay. Do you consider the oath or affirmation, as the case may be, binding on your conscience?
Yes, we
Yes,
do.
sir.
Yes. Chief Justice.
Please read the oath or affirmation aloud.
I,
I,
Ashley Saul, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other law of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Those who did the oath, raise your right hands and say, "So help me God." Those who did the affirmation, say, "I do."
So help me God.
You may return to your seats.
Grunewald, Petrus, Johannes, Mulder, Cornelius, Petrus, Wessels, Wouter, Wynand, Van Staden, Philippus, Adrian, Boshoff, Wynand, Johannes, Denner, Helois,
Have you all seen the oath or affirmation that you are about to take? Have any objection to taking it? No. Consider it binding on your conscience? Please read it aloud.
Ek, Louise Denner, verklaar plegtig trou aan die Republiek van Suid-Afrika en dat ek die grondwet en die ander reg van die Republiek sal gehoorsaam, eerbiedig en onderhou, en ek beloof plegtig om my funksies as lid van die nasionale vergadering na my beste vermoë uit te voer.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God." Those who did the affirmation, say, "I do."
I do.
Ons verklaar.
Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Ungubele Mondli, Utambi Azuyangwisi Faith, Prisi Barbara Dallas, Matale Kazel Charlie, Warnoff Giardas Velem, Tapa Rosemary Noguzola, Ramuhupa Hoshientsu David, Chauke Bejani Freddy, Meth noma Khosazana, Manamela Khwadiri Buti,
Have you all seen the oath or affirmation that you're about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it?
No.
Consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Please read it aloud.
Nna Kgosienso David Ramokgopa ke kana gore ke tla botagalela Republic ya Afrika Borwa ke tla obamela ka tlhompha le go šireletša molaotheo le melao ye mengwe ka moka ya Republic gape ke tlama gore bjalo ka leloko la ngwako ya bosetšhaba ke tla phethagatša mešomo ya ka bokgoni ka moka.
Those who did the oath, raise your right hand and say, so help me God.
Modimo nthushe.
Affirmation, not raise your hand, say, I do.
I do.
Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Beasley Ellen David, James Derilyn Elana, Kobe Malebo Patricia, Tape Tebogo Hositsile Solomon, Gobeni Lerato Mikatego, Trolip Roland Athol Price,
Have you all seen the oath or affirmation you're about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it?
No.
Consider it binding on your conscience.
Yes.
Please read it aloud.
I do swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa, respect and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability. So help me God.
Those who did the oath, please raise your right hands and say, so help me God.
So help me
So
God.
help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say, I do. Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Khanyani Mulapi Soviet Ganga Trabashe Lungi Anet Odlimpi Zuko Tangoni Kusela Lwanjegasi Nobatim Gotes Alvin Tuza Njabulo Bega Tabeni Abrams Stella Tembisa Asina Mzwandile Colin Muraka Anna Tangi Alumango Ronalda Shivon
Have you all seen the oath or affirmation you are about to take? Yes. Do you have any objection to taking it? No. Consider it binding on your conscience? Yes. Please read it aloud.
I, Anatandi Muraka, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect and uphold the Constitution and all other law of the Republic. I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, please say, "I do."
I do.
Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Masilela Sidwell Matholeni, Matutu Mandlenkosi James, Bata Moses Sipho, Bele Hazel Ndombenhle, Mchunu Guguletu, Menyazo Isaac Halebowe, Mfiki France Bongani, Mkwebi Nomado Grace, Jaju Tembinkosi Siboniso, Ize Ndombenhle.
Lillian Amelia, Alexandra Wendy Robin, Atkinson Patrick George, Okamp Willem Abraham Stefanus, Bagram Michael.
Looks like they cannot hear. Like some cannot hear.
One, two.
Maybe you should just read the names again.
Abrams, Alexandra Lillian Amelia, Alexandra Wendy Robin, Atkinson Patrick George, Okamp Willem Abraham Stefanus, Bagram Michael, Bapti Edwin Victor, Bateman Andrew Gordon, Bath Edwin McRae, Budlani Chifulelo Katlejo, Bowman Nicole Jane.
Have you all seen the oath or affirmation you are about to take?
Yes.
Have any objection to taking it? No. Consider it binding on your conscience? Yes. Please read it aloud.
I, Patrick George, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability. So help me.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God." Those who, yes, go ahead, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Etyana Yazini, Damini Mbali, Ambo Vuyani, Muhlala Rebecca, Shabela Renilwe, Kaula Sibongile Makoti, Matiase Sem Mtako, Bathulelwa babalwa, Thafeni nolivuyo, Yako yoliswa noma mpondomise. Malema Julius Silo. Mente Nkuna Veronica Zovuyo. Ivambu Nyiko Floyd. Mautwe Ompile Mankoba Confidence. Damini Marshall Mzingisi. Mailula Poppy Raisibe. Khalipi Hlengiwe Octavia. Mateus Lee N. Dozi Mbuyiseni Quentin. Noluchungu Nondando.
Dr. Ndlozi, maybe you could join another one. There are already 3 of you on one mic. Maybe will you manage?
Okay, you go there.
God will hear me. Thank you.
Come here.
Have you all seen the oath or affirmation that you are about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it?
No.
Do you have any objection to taking it?
No.
You consider it binding on your conscience? Yes. Please read it aloud. Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, raise your right hand and say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Tetyana Yazini. Damini Mbali. Pambo Vuyani. Mohlala Rebecca. Mashabela Renilwi. Paula Sibongile Makoti. Matthias Sem Mtako. Bathulelwa babalwa. Thafeni noluvuyo. Yako yoliswa noma mpondomise.
Have you seen the oath of affirmation you are about to take? Have you seen it? Do you have any objection to taking it? Consider it binding on your conscience. Please read it aloud.
Faithful to the Republic of South Africa, and I will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the to the best of my abilities.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seats.
For years, Outsurance has been saying they'll save you money on your car insurance, or you can ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand cash if they don't. Here's Fundi, 46 from Brackenfell.
I was not happy with what I was paying. I heard about the 500 Rand from Outsurance, but they give me lesser amount for my car. I'm paying 523 Rand on my 2013 Hyundai iX35.
So here's how it works. SMS out to 30754. We'll give you a no-obligation car insurance quote. If the quote is less than you're currently paying, you'll end up saving money on your car insurance every month. And if it's more than you're currently paying, you can ask for 500 Rand. And if you've been with the same insurer and claim free for 3 years or more, tell us you want 1,500 Rand.
Give Outsurance a call. It's a win-win. You can't lose.
SMS out to 30754 now. That's out to 30754. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and limits apply. Premiums are risk profile dependent and reviewed annually. Client comments do not constitute financial advice.
Water infrastructure vandalism has costly and usually dangerous consequences. Stealing of manhole covers leads to the death of children. Every broken pipe or vandalized pump doesn't just cost money, but it also threatens our access to clean water, disrupts service delivery, and endangers public health and safety. Help us in the fight against water infrastructure vandalism by reporting any suspicious activity to the City of Johannesburg on 0800 002 587. Your vigilance can prevent a death or disaster. This message is brought to you by Johannesburg Water, a water utility that cares.
Set in a gleaming new high-tech trauma center that deals with only the most serious cases, an emergency medical team must battle through the crucial first hour of care to save lives that hang in the balance. Each distinctive case is told with a thrilling intensity and nail-biting urgency as the team work on the very edge of the medically possible. This is a medical drama like no other. This is Critical. Mondays to Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on S3. Starts 11 June. Channel your best drama with BBC Primetime, only on S3. Open up.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
It's Sharon Winona, Domo Sibongiseni Maxwell, Hale Masifako Clara, Ireko Tikeledi Rosemary.
Have you seen the oath of affirmation you are about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it?
No.
Consider it binding on your conscience. Please read it aloud.
I swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Those who did the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say I do, and to your seats. Thank you.
Kize Siyabonga Percival, Mokgotsi Kgarathu Agnes, Mudli Shunmugam Ramsemi, Mutaung Hamilton, Mutshekgwe Citrin Mpho, Mutubatse Mushumi Patrick, Mthethwa Zwelakhe Elijah, Mthweni Nokwethemba Antonio, Muhammad Miriam Bibi, Mwali Sanele Gregory.
Thebe Sillo Leon, Akude Doris Eunice, Elanga Mluleki, Akmo Cameroon Mayor, Bunjwa Marianne Lindelo, Prolik Cedric Thomas, Kancho Ngabisa, Na Nomalungelo, Ovana Yanga, Ala Zimasi Mike.
Have you seen the oath or affirmation you are
So
about
we'll
to take?
continue bringing you coverage of the swearing in of members of Parliament taking place at the first sitting of the National Assembly. And absent from the chamber then this morning are members of the MK party, quite notably absent, and we'll then bring you more of those details. For now, it's time for the latest news update.
Very much, Cathy. The top story is at 11 o'clock. Swearing in of MPs underway, and Tesla investors back a multi-billion pay deal. Very good morning. Ke Mudupi Makhalemele with the news. The swearing in of MPs for the 7th Democratic Parliament is underway at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. The MPs are being called in batches of 10 to take the oath. Chief Justice Raymond Zondo is presiding over the ceremony.
After I have countersigned the certificates, members will receive one of the certificates for their records. These certificates will be sent to the members through their party representatives. The returning officer will now call out the names, but I also want to inform the House that the returning officer as well as assistant returning officers have taken their oath or affirmation before me.
The Progressive Caucus has revealed in a media briefing that the ANC has not met with them as yet. The ANC announced that it will seek a government of national unity, which would include all parties represented in the National Assembly. The Progressive Caucus, under the UDM, Al-Jama, the PAC, ATM and UAT, revealed that they've been excluded in the talks. UDM leader Bantu Holomis.
We feel that we must be given an opportunity once more to look into this document which has been circulated this morning, and in line with our resolution of yesterday evening, from now on we will want to negotiate and block representing this forum. So the ball is in the ANC's court to respond to our request to meet them.
The ANC in the Eastern Cape Legislature says the elected Premier and Legislature Speaker must serve the people of the province to the best of their abilities, as the party promised in its manifesto. The legislature is today expected to elect the Premier and the Speaker while swearing in 72 members of the legislature, which consists of 12 young people. ANC Chairperson Oscar Mabuyane is expected to be re-elected as the Premier of the province. The driver of a vehicle which caused a crash that claimed the lives of 6 relatives of Transport Minister Sindisiwe Chikunga has been sentenced to 10 years imprisonment in the Ladysmith Regional Court. The crash took place on the N11 outside Ladysmith in July 2022. 35-year-old Celumu Sangwenya appeared in court on a summons at the beginning of the year and later pleaded guilty on 6 charges of culpable homicide. The court heard that tracker information shows that Ngwenya was driving at 158 kilometers per hour in an 80-kilometer zone at the time of the crash. He also overtook a vehicle on a bend crossing 2 barrier lines. KZN NPA spokesperson Natasha Ramkisunkara.
Since all the 6 counts were taken as one for the purpose of sentencing, Ngwenya will serve an effective 10 years imprisonment. Further, in terms of Section 34 of the National Road Traffic Act, his driver's license was cancelled. The NPA welcomes the successful finalization of this matter, and we hope that the sentence sends out the necessary deterrent message.
The N3 toll concession says high traffic volumes are expected to increase from midday with the start of the school holidays that coincide with the Youth Day long weekend. Extra law enforcement officers have been deployed at strategic points along the highway. And Tesla shareholders have approved Elon Musk's $56 billion pay package despite opposition from some institutional investors. Shareholders also supported moving the electric car maker's legal registration from Delaware to Texas. The deal still faces a legal challenge. The BBC's Erin Delmore has more.
This shareholder vote puts Elon Musk one step closer to becoming the most generously compensated chief executive in U.S. corporate history. The vote was seen as a test of Mr. Musk's leadership at the company. Those in favor said he deserved the 11-figure sum for taking the company to new heights as CEO. Those against voiced concerns that his attention is elsewhere. Tesla is one of 6 firms run or owned by Mr. Musk.
The top story at 11, the swearing-in of MPs for the 7th Democratic Parliament is underway at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. For SAFM News, Gemudupi Makhalemele.
The Trilidor Ultimate Big Blue Sale is now on. Get amazing discounts on the best security South Africans trust. With over 50 franchises across the country, you can always find a security expert near you. So call 0861 Trilidor or visit trilidor.co.za today. Terms and conditions apply.
Now you can get private banking levels of service from Auto & General. They've just launched their private advisory service, and if you have more than a car to insure and your combined cover is valued at more than 1 million rand, you qualify. To celebrate, they're giving you the chance to win in the Auto & General Combine and Qualify competition. Visit safm.co.za, complete the entry form, and we could be calling you live on air. You'll be presented with various scenarios of insurable items. If you combine the correct 2 that meet the qualifying criteria for a private advisor, you'll win 5,000 rand. Plus, if you get an obligation-free insurance quote from Auto & General, you'll get an extra 1,000 rand. Visit safm.co.za and enter now. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide, leading the conversation. The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana, weekdays 9 a.m. till midday.
We continue the conversation on the Talking Point 7 after 11 o'clock. We're tuned in to the first sitting of the National Assembly being held at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. The presiding officer is the Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. We're slowly working our way down the list of what is supposed to be 400 MPs. But of course, this morning it looks like the swearing in will be to the exclusion of MK party members, as they seem to have all boycotted the first sitting, as has been threatened in the previous weeks. So let's take you back into then the proceeding. It is once the swearing in of the MPs is done that we will get an official rundown of what the rest of the program looks like. But what we know is that at the end of the day, the work of this MPs will be to elect a Speaker of Parliament. They will elect a Deputy Speaker, which will then be followed by the election of the President of the 7th Administration of this country. So let's take you back then to that chamber.
Kani Tabang Theophilus, Nomvalo Sibonelo, Chaba Delisile, Chingila Edward Mzikaise, Mumalo Nkosinati Innocent, Kweta Augustina Madala, Kadebe Shegilisiho.
Burke Mark John, Cameron Ian, Chance Roger William Tobias, Virgin, Christian Delmain Chelsea, Christy Catherine Alexandra, Clark Michelle Odette, Cuthbert Matthew John, De Block Funchlettinger Andrew Dirk, De Villiers John Nordia.
Have you seen the oath or affirmation you are about to take? Do you have any objection to taking it? Consider it binding on your conscience. Please read it aloud.
Faithful to the Republic of South Africa, and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and the laws of the Republic, and are solemnly promised to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God." Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do."
I do.
And to your seats.
Albrecht Jano, Isak Farat, Gondwe Mimi Martha, Gous Ronaldo, Graham Marie, Samantha Jane, Hutton Christian, Horn Werner, Ishmael Hasina Banu, Jacobs Liam Chad, Jordan Siska.
That's fine.
Have you seen the oath or affirmation you are about to take? Do you have any objection to taking it? Do you consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Please read it aloud.
I, Hasina Bar Ismail, solemnly affirm that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic, and I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God." Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do."
I do.
Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Are Paul Nitter, Kwena Lehonolo Goodwill, Sonyana Konziwe Ntokozo Fortunate, Tembe Kwayo Suzanne Sophie, Mayhouse Carl Gelhadas, Zidishe Sikolise, Manyi Mzwanele, Mohale Tapelo, Lose Mazwi, Sikwambana Mandla.
Have you seen the oath or affirmation you are about to take? Yes. Do you have any objection to taking it? No. Consider it binding on your conscience. Please read it aloud. Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God." Those who took the affirmation say, "I do." You may return to your seats.
Makubele Lusizo Sharon, Aneli Boyce Makosonke, Ashele Timothy Victor, Matabata Kupu Sandy, Matafa Oscar Masaruna, Mbio Inati Miranda, Kunu Tembeka Vuisile Buisile, Weba Teliswa, Haule Mahabu Regina, Mkutu Lufefe.
Have you seen the oath or affirmation you are about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it? No. Consider it binding on your conscience? Yes. Please read it aloud.
I, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do."
I do.
Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Ready Fisfin Khopal, Kwekana Mabel, Salepe Khonono Daniel, Shangase Lungisani graduate, Kosana David Mandla, Temba Albert Tsepo, Thomsana Mzonke, Van Royan David Douglas Dez, Xaba Thabisile Mildred, Zuma Sambudla Duduzile, Zongumakhasi Sifiso.
Obisa Ngaba Kabelo, Kakao Karabo Lerato, Kanyile Tembisile Angel, Loper Damien Dominic, Prayer Henrik Christian Crawford, Leroux Carl Velom Dupree, Linde Elmari, Lorima James Robert Byrne, Mabena Tamsa Ngabe Kokwake, Madigizela Bunginkosi Success.
Have you seen the oath or affirmation you're about to take? Yes. Do you have any objection to taking it? Consider it binding on your conscience. Please read it aloud. Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do."
I do.
Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Lodi, Ndluli, Larkus George, Milam Kevin John, Moore Stephen James, Mpeti Liolo, Myberg Nicholas George, Nana Melindy Evant, Peach Waldry Dennis, Poole Conrad James.
Have you seen the oath or affirmation you're about to take? Do you have any objection to taking it? Do you consider it binding on your conscience? Please read it aloud.
I, Nicholas George Myber, solemnly affirm that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and obey, respect, and uphold all other laws of the Republic. I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do."
I do.
Thank you. Please return to your seats.
Potgieter, Leah Ruth, Powell, Emma Louise, Romonjalo Tumelo Robert, Ruas, Adrian Christopher, Schikkerling Lisa Marie, Schreiber Leon Amos, Setoli Isaac Sello, Shalembe Malika Limon, Singh Shara, Sitoli Rasecha Jane.
Shall we share?
Have you seen the oath or affirmation you're about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it?
No.
Consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Please read it aloud.
Nna Isaac Sello Sintlolo, ke ikana gore ke tla nna boikanyego mo Rephaboliking ya Aforika Borwa mme ke tla ikobela ka tlotlo le go tshegetsa melaotheo le melao e mengwe yotlhe ya Rephaboliki ya Aforika Borwa mme ke solofetsa ka tlhomamiso go dira ditiro tsa me jaaka botlhale le tlhoko la kwano bosetšhaba.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
A Modimo a nthuse.
Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Meshwe Kenneth Rasilabi Joseph, Spring Wayne Maxim, Swart Stephen Nicholas, Olomisa Bantu Bonke Harrington, Kwankwa Ngabayomzi Lawrence Saziso, Nontenja Christobel Tandiwe, Zibi Songezo Sipiwo, Ghana Stanford Mahashule, Maimane Musi Aloysius, Webster Nobuntu Lindumusa
Have you seen the oath of affirmation you're about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it? No. Consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Please read it aloud.
I swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic, and I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do." Thank you very much. You may return to your seats.
Mulutsane Matsulu Lisbeth Modise Pia Muleboheng Mwela Mukhodu Samuel Mufukeng Masitseho Lina Muhai Seiso Joel Mukwena Julian Liseletsi Mulwelwe Nongeba Agnes Murolong Itiseng Kenneth Mosikatsi Sophia Khaha Mzoleli
Have you seen the oath of affirmation you're about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it?
No.
Consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Please read it aloud.
I, Muleboheng Modise swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and I will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all the other laws of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Tolo Nombuso Elizabeth Nyayi Shilichi Bethwell Vana Nonkosi Queenie Dalane Nanda Anna Damase Pumelele Nila May Helen Elizabeth Nell Andris Carl Kopane Dombovuyo Silver Rose Kosi Nomgqibelo Ethel Nonsele Ncedisi
This side.
Have you seen the oath of affirmation you're about to take?
Yes.
you have any objection to taking it?
No.
Consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Please read it aloud.
I, Phumelele Ndamase, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other law of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my abilities.
Thank you. Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do."
I do.
And to your seats.
Zungula vuyo lwethu, Magau Thandiswa Linen, Hendricks Mohammed Hanif Ibrahim, Ismail Musa Imran, Adams Fadil, Frenchman Sakina, Nyonso Mzwanele, Mahlatsi Lehlohonolo Wonderboy, Dilil Patricia.
Have you seen the oath of affirmation you're about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it? Consider it binding on your conscience. Please read it aloud.
I, Fari, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect and uphold the Constitution and the law of the Republic. I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to
Kananjalo ndiyathembisa ngokunyanisekileyo okokuba ndizokuyenza imisebenzi yam njengelungu yendlomiso-mthetho yesizwe kangangoko ndinako, ngoko ke ndincede Thixo ophila enyameni.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Anaga Lillian, Komane Lensel Mashidiga, Kwebane Busisiwe Joyce, Konto Constance Nontlantla, Lekape Molabongeng Sharon, Montwedi Motusi, Diale Betty Kejisaletse, Tito Lorato, Kangwini Elseb Natasha.
Have you seen the oath or affirmation you're about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it? No. Consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Aloud.
swear that I will faithfully the Republic and will obey and respect and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the country, and I solemnly promise to hold and functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Njengelilunga lelibandla lavelonke ngakho-ke lokusemandleni ami.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God." Those who took the affirmation say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Smith Christian Frederick Bayers, Smith Ryan, Spies Eleanor, Rochelle Jacqueline, Van Zyl Anna Maria, Wakelin Kingsley Hope, Vilakazi Sibongiseni Harold, Zondi Spesihle.
Have you seen the oath you are about, or affirmation you are about to take? Do you have any objection to taking it?
No.
Do you consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Please read it aloud.
I, Sibongiseni Gerald Vilakazi, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect and uphold the constitutional laws of the Republic, and I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Took the affirmation, say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Qola Qola, Chali Leona Lindiwe, Phahla Matume Joseph, Phiri Carol Mukhadi, Polwane Makhalake Leneilwe, Plakis Windy Timotheus David, Ramaila Kia Mutseng Stanley, Ramolobeng Anthea, Sapo Lindelwa, Seyabi Albert Mamucha.
Have you seen the oath or affirmation you're about to take?
Yes.
Have any objection to taking it?
No.
Consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Please read it aloud.
I, Carol Mukhadi, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa, respect and uphold
promise to perform my functions as member of the National Assembly to the best of my
I
ability.
solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Ikoati Siparo Charles, Silamulela Sililo Donald, Sine Masilo Matawa, Shabangu Fisani Lillian, Shiviti Sakani Goodness, Sibiya Ntutuko Mbongiseni, Siweya, Lani Thembi, Skosana, Gijimani Jim, Sokhanyile Thokozile, Sokopo Mzwanele Major.
Have you seen the oath of affirmation you're about to take? Any objection to taking that afresh? Not everybody. Have you seen the oath of affirmation you're about to take?
Yes.
Objection to taking it?
No.
Consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Allowed.
I, Charles Edward, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and I will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I solemnly promise to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Took the affirmation, say, "I do." Thank you. You may return to your seats.
Sompa Masiu, Nombiselo Susan, Soju Mahutsu Magdalene, Subrathi Sheikh Imran, Swartz Bernice, Ikana Gxothiwe Weziwe, Tong Kerileng Christina, Shotetsi Noble Chiamo, Kabantshaba Phindisile Pretty, Kheko Sheila Thembalam.
Have you all seen the oath or affirmation you're about to take?
Yes.
Do you have any objection to taking it?
No.
Consider it binding on your conscience?
Yes.
Read it aloud.
I, Bernice Swartz, swear that I will be faithful to the Republic of South Africa and will obey, respect, and uphold the Constitution and all other laws of the Republic. And I solemnly swear to perform my functions as a member of the National Assembly to the best of my ability.
Those who took the oath, please raise your right hands and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Those who took the affirmation, please say, "I do." Are there any members who did not get a chance to be sworn in? Everybody has been sworn in. We will now proceed at D of program that relates to
Chief Justice.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. We wanted to request for a 30-minute break to have a caucus before we start with the process of nominating the speaker and deputy speaker. So we are requesting that we should take a 30 minutes break to have a caucus to consolidate the oppositions.
At this stage, what I propose to do, honorable member, is to read what I need to read, and then once I've finished that, we can then take it from there. So I need to read this first, and then we will look at whether we can have a break or not. The members having been sworn in, we will now proceed to the election of office bearers as envisaged in sections 52(1) and 86(1) of the Constitution. As I indicated earlier on, I have made rules for the conduct of this meeting as contemplated by the Constitution in item 9, schedule 3. Understand that copies of the rules are on your desks. I also, as indicated earlier on, have indicated that I have appointed the following persons to be the returning officers to assist me in the proceedings of these. They are Mr. X. George as returning officer, and the following as assistant returning officers: Mr. M. Taso, Ms. T.V. Lyons, Mr. T.R. Malime, Advocate V.P. Ngaleka, Mr. M.H. Plachis, Advocate J. Manyange, Mr. A.T. Nahe, Mr. P. Handik, Advocate A.A. Ephraim, Mr. F.J. Basson, Ms. R. Tinda, Mr. M. Doti, Ms. N.C. Manjezi, Mr. G. Matakane, Advocate N. Mongo, Mr. K.I. Muso, Ms. C.N. Bengu, and Ms. F. Ismail. As I indicated earlier on, they have all taken the oath or affirmation, as the case may be, for such office before me.
Determination of the first sitting of the National Assembly by the Chief Justice in terms of Section 51(1) of the Constitution. Following upon the declaration of the national and provincial election results by the Independent Electoral Commission on Sunday, 2nd June 2024, I, the undersigned, Raymond Nyamezeli Mlungisi Zondo, Chief Justice of the Republic of South Africa, hereby determine in terms of Section 51, subsection 1 of the Constitution that the first sitting of the National Assembly shall be on Friday, 14 June 2024 at 10 a.m. Signed in Johannesburg on this Monday, the 10th of June 2024.
Thank you, Secretary. The meeting will now proceed to the election of a Speaker of this House. Before I call for nominations, I have to remind members that in terms of the Constitution, each nomination must be submitted on the prescribed form and duly seconded. Furthermore, I have to draw the attention of the members, especially to item 4 of Part A of Schedule 3 of the Constitution, in terms of which there may be no debate. There will now be an opportunity for nominations for Speaker of the National Assembly.
Chief Justice.
I will attend to you just now.
But we have asked for a break. It's basic. Can we be given a break to caucus, please?
Was it Honorable Shivambu who had requested an adjournment? Do you want to make your request again?
Can we make a request to have a break for 30 minutes to have a caucus about the process that is about to happen now? We want to consolidate our position, and it's constitutional to make this request. It's within the law. How do you refuse us to talk?
You are asking
you can't
for
suppress the freedom to talk.
You are asking for how long? 15 minutes?
I said 30.
30?
Yes.
And the purpose is?
Caucus, about the process that is about to happen now.
But why would you not have caucused before?
We want to consolidate the position now. Chief Justice, we want to consolidate the position. It's allowed, it's a request, it's allowed to make a request. It's within the Constitution. Please protect our rights.
Well, you know, everybody has known we are going to have this first sitting today for quite some time now.
Can you please allow us our right to go and consolidate a position? It's a request that as members of parliament must be allowed to make. Don't force feed us a different approach. We are asking for a caucus for 30 minutes now. Please.
Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to allow a comfort break. I'm going to allow a comfort break of 15 minutes, and then we are going to return. Secretary, 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 Secretary. Yeah.
Hello?
The proceedings are there.
Yes. Yes, Studio 9. We are standing by. Has the judge allowed for the break? Because I cut out.
All right, so there you have it then. The Chief Justice Raymond Zondo granting a 30-minute break. So I guess then this will be the break for political parties to consolidate, as Floyd Shivambu was saying, their position ahead of the appointment or the election of a speaker. You'd remember coming into the session, the EFF, under this newly formed grouping of the Progressive Forums, comprised of the UDM, PAC, UAT, Al-Jamaa, 6 parties that make up 48 seats in the National Assembly, had said that they don't want to necessarily give their support to the government of national unity until they've been given the opportunity to speak with the ANC's president, Cyril Ramaphosa. And we saw the EFF MPs arriving into this session late this morning while the session had already started. And of course, notably, among those chairs is the absence of the Umkhonto weSizwe members of parliament. They'd long threatened to boycott the session, and it seems that they have done exactly that. So that, of course, means that it'll be somewhat of a delay to how the day is going to be run. What we're expecting is that the election of a speaker will take place now. It'll be followed by the election of a deputy speaker. And then this afternoon, it'll get down to the business of electing the president that will oversee and that will run the administration. That is the 7th administration of this parliament. So, still a lot to come today, the 14th of June 2024. Mark this day. Remember this day. I'm not by myself in studio. I'm all packed up and ready to go. Standing by in the studio are Bridget Masinga and Bongiwe Zwane. They are going to be driving the ship going into this afternoon. Ladies, what a day. What a day, what a day, what a day.
This morning feels like a lifetime. It really feels like a lifetime, because you think about the fact that if there's now a request to go caucus now, before we even get to the speaker, when we get to the president, are we going to caucus for 3 hours?
Well, hopefully this is the last break that political parties would need. But if you have to caucus now, it means that chances are whatever plan is in place for today, you may not be part of the plan, which has been the indication. Of course, SABC News has been running the breaking story of a deal struck between the ANC, the DA, and the IFP and Patriotic Alliance being part of that deal. Bridget?
Well, listen, I concur that it's going to be a very long afternoon after the back of a very long 24 hours. But you do get the sense that there's some last minute wheeling and dealing.
Yes.
And there's definitely things shifting in the background. So as much as we see the breaking news of a deal that's been struck, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that there's still room for, just that 11th hour power play there by some of the smaller parties.
Especially because when you listen to Helen Zille, Cathy, earlier on, saying to Mzwandile Mbeje, there's that last paragraph that we need to agree upon.
Could all just be semantics.
If the last paragraph is not agreed upon, there's no deal.
I refuse. I refuse to be misled by politicians. No longer will I be misled by politicians. They can posit one thing, but do something complete. I don't know, but none of those members of the ANC or the DA looked concerned or worried. They're not holding last-minute press conferences, making all sorts of asks.
For me, what would be interesting is to actually get beyond today. I want to see the makeup of this cabinet. Because it's going to tell us a lot about what was happening behind closed doors if this last paragraph was indeed the last paragraph.
The devil is all going to be in the details. So Bongiwe Zwane and Bridget Masinga will then be driving you through the rest of the afternoon. Still plenty more to happen. Don't miss any of the action on this historic day for South Africa. That's my lot for the day. The talking point back with you again The good thing is that we'll have the election of a speaker, of the president today. Tomorrow it will be over to the NCOP, and then there'll be a bit of a long weekend for us to take it all in before next week. Remember, the president has to be inaugurated in 5 days, within 5 days of his election. So undoubtedly the inauguration will be sometime next week. All right, that's where I leave it on the talking point for today. I'm officially handing you over to the special broadcast that will lead you into the rest of the afternoon.
It's just after 12 o'clock, Friday, the 14th of June. A very warm welcome to the special broadcast that is, of course, looking at all the developments in the National Assembly as well as in the provincial legislatures across the country. My name is Bongiwe Zwane.
And of course, I'm Bridget Masinga, joining Bongiwe on this special broadcast for the next 3 hours, bringing you the latest that's coming out from Cape Town. Today marks the start of the 7th Democratic Parliament with the very first sitting of the National Assembly.
And coming up this hour,
you consider the oath binding on your conscience? Yes. Please read the oath aloud so that the people of South Africa can hear what you are committing yourself to.
And today marking the start of the 7th Democratic Parliament with the first sitting of the National Assembly.
From now on, we will want to negotiate en bloc, representing this forum. So the ball is in the ANC's court to respond to our request to meet them.
6 opposition parties claim that the ANC has not met with them yet. And of course, John Gerika with your sports headlines.
The Proteas take on Nepal at the T20 World Cup, but they're in the Caribbean, so Kagiso Rabada feels the pitches might do them right. And the Bulls prepare for their semi-final against Leinster in the URC tomorrow afternoon.
And of course, you can share your views with us on 41391. SMSs are charged at R1.50. Call us as well. WhatsApp your voice notes and also reach us on X using the hashtag SABC News_radio. These and more stories coming up on the show. But first, Mudubi Makhalemela standing by.
Well, thank you very much, ladies. The top story is this hour. The ANC and the DA reach a GNU deal and Makhashule's asbestos case is postponed. A very good afternoon. After days of speculation, SABC News has reliably learned that the ANC and the DA have finally reached a deal to form a government of national unity together with the PA and the IFP. This comes days after the parties failed to reach an agreement on who to work with in the ANC's proposed GNU. The mooted government of national unity comes after the May polls failed to produce an outright winner. President Cyril Ramaphosa and his deputy Paul Mashatile were among the first group of MPs who were sworn in as members of the National Assembly. Today marks the beginning of the 7th Parliament, with the National Assembly sitting convened by Chief Justice Raymond Zondo. The ANC has lost 71 seats in the elections. It has dropped from 230 in the 6th Parliament to 159 seats. Mercedes Besant has more.
The venue outside the chamber has been a hive of activity since this morning. The ANC President Ramaphosa, who is a nominee for the position of president, was sworn in alongside former Chief Whip Phemi Majodina and Ronald Lamola. Former ministers Malusi Gigaba and Dina Pule have also made it back to Parliament. Once all MPs have been sworn in, the next step will be to elect the Speaker and the Deputy. The election of the President is expected to take place at 2 p.m. this afternoon. Mercedes Besant, SABC News at the Cape Town International Convention Centre.
Meanwhile, members of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature have begun taking their oath of office during the first provincial sitting of the new administration. The sitting will also see the election of a premier, a speaker, and other leadership positions for the next 5 years. In what was described as one of the most hotly contested elections, the ANC in Gauteng managed to garner 28 seats in the legislature, followed by the DA with 20 seats and the EFF in third position with 11 seats. In Mpumalanga, members of the provincial legislature in Mbombela have elected Linda Masina as the speaker. She accepted the nomination and was elected unopposed. Masina has committed herself to adhering to the rules of the legislature and working together with all parties represented in the legislature. She committed that they will meet the expectations of the residents of Mpumalanga.
As we pick up the baton, we commit to hit the ground running in deepening the work of an activist, people-centered legislature. As per our oath, we undertook to be loyal to the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa. Ours will ensure an accountable government through our programs that engender oversight, lawmaking, and public participation. As a speaker of this legislature, I commit to be a speaker working together with all political parties.
And finally, in other news, the multi-million rand asbestos case in the Free State High Court has been postponed to April next year for trial. This after the accused, who include former Free State Premier Ace Magashule, appeared in court for the pre-trial hearing. The court agreed that the matter will continue with or without the presence of accused number 17, Morwadi Cholota, who is studying in the US. Cholota is Magashule's former PA during his term in office. The court has indicated that her extradition is at the stage of being signed off by the American courts. The top story at midday. After days of speculation, SABC News has reliably learned that the ANC and the DA have finally reached a deal to form a government of national unity together with the PA and the IFP. For SAFM News, Kemudupi Makhalemele.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM. Bongiwe Zwane on SAFM.
Thank you very much, Mudupi, with the latest in the news there. As mentioned, we are together, Bridget?
Yes, we are together for the next 3 hours through all the fun and the anxiety that I'm sure a lot of South Africans are feeling right now.
Doesn't it feel like the end of 2024? I mean, with everything we've been through as a country up until this moment.
It's been a long 6 months and even longer 2 weeks.
You know, and you think about right now the fact that in just a couple of days we'll see the inauguration of the president.
Yeah.
And just a lot of people right now are waiting to see this afternoon if really President Cyril Ramaphosa will return as president, or are we now likely to see, because now there's a caucus, you never know, as you were saying, last minute wheeling and dealing.
It really is last minute and wheeling and dealing. But I mean, I guess the likelihood is, and you would know better, right? The likelihood is probably going to return as president. I mean, who else would, be up for the position?
Let me tell you, you never know. With right now, we might just see Maswili who's in front of us, our specialist researcher, seeing a different name that is being put forward. But speaking about Maswili, he's actually our colleague here. We're sitting with him. And Maswili, it's very interesting that where we are now in terms of the proceedings, Cyril Ramaphosa is not the president of South Africa.
Yes, thank you for having me. As we speak now, our president
our former president, Cyril Ramaphosa, has taken the oath of office as an MP. Our listeners will remember that when you are elected as president, you cease to be an MP of the member of parliament. So now that he has gone back and took the oath of office in this 7th parliament, Cyril Ramaphosa, as we speak, he's not the president of the country until such time when the proceedings continue and he's elected as the president of the country again. But Section 90 of the Constitution also says the speaker, it gives the speaker the mandate to act as the president. So but from where we're sitting now, we don't have the speaker of the house, but we see the chief justice is directing or is presiding over the election of the oath and the election of the speaker. So the powers as we speak lies with the chief justice. And after the speaker has been elected, is then that the speaker will act as the president of the country according to Section 90 of the Constitution. Then it also means, now that we are not certain as to who's going to be elected in this parliament, the Constitution gives Parliament up to 30 days for them to think about this. Like now we're talking about the caucus that is currently happening in Parliament between all MPs who have been sworn in. So the Parliament will be there. We'll have the Parliament, but the Parliament won't have the leaders. But if they come out and elect the speaker, that speaker will now have 30 days looking at when these guys can come back and elect the president of the country. If that doesn't happen in 30 days, the Constitution gives the acting president of that time to call for new elections.
And, you know, when one thinks about this particular moment in our parliament, we've seen it, of course, Maswili being a very easy one. Over time, especially because the ANC would have the majority and there wouldn't be this need to speak to other political parties about what could possibly be the picture of this new, parliament. Right now, this is uncharted territory for parliament, especially because everybody has to work together as now former president, Cyril Ramaphosa said when the IC was declaring the results that, right now the people of South Africa are actually saying we must work together. Basically, they forced us into this particular corner. Let's talk about the fact that right now you see an ANC that has a reduced majority. Yes. You're seeing an MK party that is coming into the ANC, and a number of people have said this is actually ANC 2.0, as they call them.
Yeah. And the ANC... the MK looks certain that they don't want to work with the ANC of Ramaphosa in inverted commas. And then you've seen the EFF also, which looks cozy with the MK. And you just don't know whether these relationships that are being committed now by all parties, like you see the ANC, the DA, the IFP, the NFP included, the PA also in that mix at this hour. You wonder if this is another recipe for disaster that we've been seeing in the metros, for example. Forget the smaller municipalities. In the metros is even worse because you've got the city of Joburg with a budget of 81 billion rand, and then you see this uncertainty whether tomorrow we'll wake up with Gwamanda as our mayor or not. So.
And right now, the EFF's MMC for finance.
Yes, and then the EFF is also threatening that if you don't reinstate this person, we are pulling out, which means from now, last last time I checked, since 2016, we've had around 6 mayors in Joburg alone. So,
listen, I'm listening to you guys. I'm listening to Masweli, and I'm thinking I'm always a glass half full kind of girl. And I've tried throughout the last 2 weeks to be relatively calm and controlled in emotion about this. So I'm looking at it from a perspective of perhaps let's look at it from the lens of a maturing democracy, in the sense that we've always purported, about this multi-party democracy and multi-party participation. This is what it looks like in reality, where one party is not in the majority.
In a maturing democracy, by 2016, when these issues of coalition started, the parliament would have sat down and come up with legislation as to what do we do when situation is like this. As we speak now, the only legislation that they are coining is that of they are amending the Municipal Structures Act of 1998 to put in conditions for a coalition. That is just for local government. But remember, the first notable coalition happened in 2016. Now we are in 2024. We still don't have that. Last year, our Deputy President Paul Mashatile called for coalition dialogue in Cape Town, where some parties went, some didn't go, and then they were talking about what happens when the situation is like this. And fortunately, it was just last year, and we are sitting here, it's happening now. And one would think that would have given them a starter to say, now let's put together something, go to parliament, quickly work on this and come up with a workable solution. We still don't have anything on legislation as to how coalition governments must work.
I'm very interested in this particular discussion. And Bridget, let's pick it up in just a moment. But I do understand our colleague, Mercedes Besent, our parliamentary reporter, is standing by. Mercedes, thank you so much for your time. Let's talk about where we are in terms of this particular request for a caucus asked by the EFF.
Yes, they are now going back. The bells have just rung. Yes, isn't it? We've heard that the EFF would maybe is the issue around the speaker. The first office bearer who has to be elected is the speaker now of the National Assembly. So we don't know. That caucus has taken place. It would mean that if they bring in a candidate, we know that Veronica Mente is one of those whom they are suggesting. They suggested to the ANC to say the ANC should support that one of the Veronica Mente, or even if she's deputy. So it's going to be very interesting. This is now where the interesting part is going to start, where you will see whether this is leading to a national government of unity or have things turned around. Because if it is the speaker who comes maybe from the ANC or from the DA or from the IFT, for example, and supported by the others, and everybody, there's no contender, then it means it's going to be easy. But if there is more than one nomination, and even, nomination, or even 2 or 3 candidates or so on, then they're going to have to use the secret ballot. Then it means it could take quite some time. What would happen is that they will have to, once that election is done, it's going to be presided over by the Chief Justice. And once that is done, then they're going to have to turn the area into a voting station if there are more than one nomination. We also don't know about the president. We know that this whole proceedings of the speaker and the deputy speaker election is going to take place, and hopefully finishing at 1 or 1:30, but then at 2 o'clock will be the president. That one will be the last one. So they are moving back now.
All right.
We will be able, and if there's anything, we'll just come back to you even just before the end of the show to tell you exactly whose names are put forward.
All right,
and whether
Marcel.
they accept the nominations.
Okay, thank you so much for that comprehensive update. They will allow you then to just rush back in so that you're able to catch these proceedings. And Bridget, of course, as you were saying, that it's going to be quite important to watch this democracy mature.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an exciting chapter, right? As much as it's got everybody on tenterhooks, but I think it's a testimony to, at least in my opinion, it's a testimony to the kind of South Africa we hope to build. We fling around these terms and these words around democratic processes and participation, and this is what it looks like. You know, it takes moments of, I guess, discomfort at first, but ultimately when the dust settles, hopefully we're 5 steps further into the vision that we'd like to see for our future.
And Masul, I'm sure you'll agree with that, because one would say at the same time, to add to what Bridget is saying, is now we are in an era where people are saying don't sweep everything under the carpet, because that's what we did in the past. We did not deal with some of the difficult moments. And some are saying, as Bridget says, this is what it takes to get over the difficult conversations.
It's clear that this is a new start. Remember, during the campaigns, others were saying 2024 is our 1994. I guess those were predicting the events of today, where the GNU, you remember the GNU in 1994, but the difference is that in 1994, the constitution of the day, which was the interim constitution going into the 1994 elections, had suggested that we can have a GNU. And when you look at the period of apartheid to democracy then, you would understand that we needed that GNU, the handover, a smooth handover from the apartheid government to the democratic government. And you will realize that even during that time, when the GNU, others were expecting it to go over until 1999, immediately in May, when the constitution was adopted in Parliament, May 1996, the National Party withdrew from the GNU. They withdrew to give the democratic government of the ANC, which had a majority then, to continue. Right now, the ANC doesn't have a majority. Nobody has a majority to form a government on their own. And we are calling for a GNU. I just don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. And that's why we see.
And what does it look like?
We don't know. We don't know. And that's why we're seeing so many parties say, what about me? What about me? What about me?
I think that's where the thing was, though, Maswile, is that when they made the announcement, it appeared as if they wanted everybody at the table. And that's why now you see others like the Progressive Forum saying, but why leave us out?
When you check what happened in 1994, I'll go back to 1994. That constitution said if you have 10% of the votes, you can come and form a GNU. That's why you saw NP and IFP going into that. But as it continued, the IFP was no longer a part of the IFP continued in that so-called GNU going forward. But it was no longer GNU, because if you remember, even after 1999, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi still came back as the cabinet minister in the ANC government. You know, so we are sitting here and without anything written on the book, and then we expect the government to be formed.
Well, as we continue to see those tectonic plates shift in real time, perhaps we'll dip in to Cape Town for that live audio coming through from that very first sitting of the National Assembly, that 30-minute caucus break now over with the Chief Justice back on the seat.
Yes, Honourable Member.
Thank you very much, Honourable Justice. My name is Cathy Mohlahlana from the ANC. I hereby nominate for the candidate of a Speaker, Honourable Thokozile Angela Didiza. I here submit.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? There is a seconder there. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Chief Justice. My name is Supra Obakeng Ramueletsi Mahumapil. I stand to second the nomination of the Honorable Angela Thokozile Didisa as the Speaker of the 7th Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. Thank you very much.
It's a requirement that the acceptance will be in writing, but I do nevertheless want to ask whether the nominee will accept the nomination.
Chief Justice, my name is Angela Thokozile Didiza. I hereby accept the nomination as the Speaker of the National Assembly.
Thank you very much. Are there other nominations? Okay, thank you. We'll wait for the nomination form. Yeah.
Chief Justice.
Yes.
I have a nomination for the position of Speaker for the 7th Parliament.
Oh, please hold on. I will give you a chance just now. We're just waiting for the nomination form.
All right, as we are watching the first sitting of the National Assembly, the nominations for the Speaker of the National Assembly, this is the process that needs to unfold right now. And remember, post this process, there's going to be the Deputy Speaker that is then nominated and elected as well. And then in the afternoon, we are going to see then the election of the President. So let's listen in. I think the proceedings continue.
Sure.
Chief Justice, I wish to confirm that the signature on the nomination form is mine.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there other nominations?
Yes, there is.
Yes.
My name is Vuyolwethu Zongola Udosini. I am nominating Untombo Vuyo Veronica Mente for the position of Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any seconder? I don't see any hand. Okay. Yes, I recognize the hand. Please,
Chief Justice, I support the nomination.
Okay. What is the name of the seconder? Yeah. Mention your full names.
Bantu bonke Holomisa.
Bantu bonke Holomisa.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I can't see. from here. Okay. Thank you. The nominee, do you accept the nomination?
Chief Justice, igama lam nguNtombovuyo Veronica Mente, ndiyayamkela i-nomination yokuba nguSpeaker. Enkosi.
Thank you very much. We'll now wait for the form.
All right, the EFF there, the EFF's Ntombovuyo Veronica Mente, their national chairperson, who has just accepted nomination for the position of National Assembly Speaker. And of course, Togo Didiza is another name that has been nominated for this particular position of National Speaker. And of course, some of those closely monitoring this particular process, Bridget, have been saying that maybe Togo Didiza might just be the one to take it. But as we've been saying today, anything can happen.
Possible. I don't know. I just threw out, and of course, our expert here, Umasweli, says to me, he looked at me with a cockeye when I said, I think that Veronica Mente might be a good person for the job.
I think the nomination of Veronica Mente is a protest nomination by, I know it's a democratic system, of course, the democratic process must unfold, but looking at the fact that it's been reported now that the DA and ANC have reached an agreement. In that agreement, it will include IFP and PA. Then the nomination of Veronica Mente becomes just a protest by these ones who are claiming to have been excluded from the whole process. That's how I see it.
All right, let's go back now to the National Assembly and see who else then gets nominated.
The second proposer or seconder is not the one who seconded, namely General Bantu Holomisa. Can I ask that the form, that error be corrected and the form be brought back? Thank you. In the meantime, if there are other nominations, I invite them. The form will be corrected and then returned, or a new one sent up to me. Are there other nominations? I don't see any indication. Okay. It looks like there are no further nominations. I therefore, are they bringing a new one? Yeah, okay.
All right. It does look like it's down to two, Bridget. Togo Didiza, Veronica Mente. It's down to two. Masweli is calling it a protest nomination.
It also looks good from my side because the parliament wants to continue with a female speaker. Something that we've been preaching all along, that where there's because we're still in the process of transformation in South Africa, where a woman exits the seat, can we not have another woman taking over rather than giving it to but it really looks good going forward. It also gives the young ones out there who wants to step up the ladder in politics to feel that women are represented out there and they are taken high. Because as we speak now, there are more men in that parliament than women.
Mm.
But these men are going to vote for women as we speak.
Mhm.
So it looks good.
Can we also maybe, unpack the importance of specific strategic positions in Parliament? We have so many younger voters coming in, during this season, and perhaps people are wondering, why between Didiza and Mente? Why is it not just a case of either or?
Well, they are elected, they are nominated by different parties, and they all have their own style of doing things. The policies are not the same from all parties, despite the fact that the ANC and DA are working together with who comes who came in these elections and coming in this parliament now to work together with a full bunch of policies that do not communicate to each other. But for now, like when we started this show and spoke about the uncertainty that is there, the confusion in the country right now as to how the ANC and the ANC are going to work together. So this also, from here, we also don't know what the DA wants out of this and what the ANC wants out of the DA votes.
Does it not also, Masweli, speak to the very big question of, is this foundation firm enough? Especially when you look at the political parties that are now going to be working together. You're looking at a patriotic alliance, you're looking at a democratic alliance, you're looking at an ANC, as well as Inkatha Freedom Party. Looking at these political parties, their history as well. Is the foundation firm?
Bongiwe, it was just 2 weeks ago when the NHI bill was signed, and the DA said they will be going to court to challenge the bill. Is the same DA that took the ANC to court to demand the transparency or the release of the cadre deployment documents minutes. Is the DA that said the coalition with ANC and other parties will be a doomsday coalition. And today the DA is going to work with the ANC. It's already what you are suggesting, or what the question that you're asking has already been answered in the metros as to what is happening there, without, like I said at the beginning, without anything on the table as to legislation, as to how these things are going to work. Politicians alone deciding on the future of the country without putting it on making it a law or having to be something binding. It's really it's not a solid foundation.
All right, and I do understand that right now we have Mercedes Besant, our colleague there, who's watching what is taking place in Parliament. Mercedes, hopefully you can hear us. With Bridget here, it's Bongiwe. Where are we in terms of the process right now?
Okay, yes, indeed. What has happened right now is that the EFF, the ANC brought Choco Didiza as the nominee, and she has accepted the nomination. And then the ATM brought, Veronica Mente, and it was also seconded by the UDM leader, Bantu Holomisa. It's a bit quiet now because we now have to start processing everything, and so that the ballot papers and everything will have to be prepared to start the whole thing of electing the speaker. So voting will be the next phase. But it's a bit quiet now, and we can see that the Chief Justice and the returning officers, they are busy there. I'm sure they are discussing the next step is now going to be the election that is going to take place.
All right.
So it's very interesting, actually, how things seem to have turned out to Choco Didiza and then Veronica Mente.
Mercedes, I think let's listen to what the Chief Justice has to say. We'll come back to you. All right, we will then continue to monitor what is taking place in the first sitting of the National Assembly.